Okay, so let's try to create the mech design from the start up to the last final render of uh, the CG design robot. So first, we create a new layer using your elliptical marquee. So you create a ellipse shape, so an egg shape like, and then fill it up with black. And then after that, using your from your images, so copy or drag and drop the image where you have your spacesuit, okay, or the astronaut image. And then once you have uh, placed your image on top of that layer, apply lighten from the blending mode, and then adjust the size of that image. So just to copy the shape, right, to make it more look like a head shape, so of a mech. So we need to center it, and then using your brush tool, which is the one we used for our demo. So choose the color using your eyedropper from the clothing, from the image, and overpaint the area that have has a black color. So we'll try to create a surface, a still surface, solid surface, by selecting your elliptical marquee. So we'll have a limitation, So that's just a restriction. So that you can only create, overpaint, or paint in this area, not on outside of the selection. So same with in the other side, and then adjust the tone. So for me, I'll use the shape dynamics and then transfer to make it more smoother, and then pen pressure, and then maybe around 6% of spacing. So this will be the output, so it's much more smoother than the previous one. And then on the bottom part, so we'll apply then. So we want to make sure that there will be no clothing texture, so to our image. So we just select lighten, and then let's try to select that one, rasterize, and then for the panel line, so to make it more mechanical, so we add some lines. But since this is in a lighten, so we want to create a clipping mask for this image. So we have to select, right click, and then create clipping mask, and then you merge that layer, and then continue creating line. So same with on the other side, and then another line. other side. So, a random panel lines, ano. And this area. Then we can extend. And then on the cockpit area and dashboard, we change the look of this dome-like part. We add some panel line again to make it more mechanical. So a cockpit portion, ano. Change the size. And then this one, make it more softer. Then add some more to it. Okay. Then we add some uh, additional port. So like antenna, okay, for transmitting a transmitter. So an accessories for this head part. Then once we are done, we resize, scale it down. We create the leg part. Either you use a sketch, okay, to create the leg part. So the leg part would be a mech style, a bipedal. So in reverse, so it would be like this one. But if you have difficulty in creating or sketching the shape of the leg, you can block it out. So just like creating a silhouette, so a positive space of the shape. So it's easy and faster to create that kind of design. So no need to detail it since it will be covered with part of the image. And then after you're done with the leg silhouette, the shape or the overall shape, use again another image and then apply again lighten to the silhouette leg. So make sure that you properly align the shape. Okay, so depends on how you want the look of your uh that leg part. So for me, maybe I would choose this one and then apply clipping mask. Yeah, before clipping mask, I'll delete this part. And then I'll use my clipping mask and then merge. And then the same with the head. So I'll add details. Make this one a little bit plain. So for the details, ano. And then copy the color of this portion and then add to it. And then the same with in this area. Since was cut, so we add some gray that the circle, ano. So on this part. And then we add some mass here. And then on this portion, so connecting to the waist or pelvic part, going to the upper part. And then again, creating some cut out part of the design. So to fill it up. So what's left or missing on that part? Ano? We change the look again. So copying the color using your eyedropper. Then we remove some portion of that gray line. And then we align it so it have a good proportion of that leg. And then after you apply the second image, so you have here this image, so it's a machinery part of the machinery, you know. So you just use lighten again, so it just pop up when you place it in a dark tone. For example, I'll use this part, and then I'll delete some portion, and then apply clipping mask and merge, and then create a tone, a dark tone, since it will be covered by the entire part, and rebuild some portions of it. Maybe change some look, the design, ano. Okay. Now that we have completed the first leg, we want to duplicate this one. So we go to our layers panel, we drag and drop that layer using your free transform, and then right click, free transform, right click, and then flip horizontal, select flip horizontal. So we have two side by side created legs. Okay. Then we are missing this part of the center. So we create another shape. So we put that on top of those leg, copying the color of the upper part. So we want to have a more simple shape. And then connector here. Then some lines, maybe protruding lines, ano. Okay. And then once we are done, we adjust again the size. Now we create our arm. So let's start with on the right arm. So we draw the shape. So what size or shape, okay, form the arm, okay, for our mech. So for simplicity, so we just use this kind of shape, and then we use like claw type, and then just apply, um make it silhouette, ano. Yeah. So just to get the shape. And then same with on the fingers of this mech arm. And then after that, so we again use another, will be the final image, I know, for texturing. So since these are having the same position, I know, so the looks of the, the angle, the proportion, the perspective, so it's suitable for using it as a texture to make it more realistic. So we rasterize the image, apply lighten, and then we position that image, okay, from the arm, the shoulder, up to the elbow. So yung two rotations, parang rotating joints. And then after we delete some part, or use your clipping mask, and then merge. And then add some parts that are missing. So we just add it. Then change some looks of it. Say for example, in this side. And then we add this one. So seems the other one must have similar part. So we copy, and then using again the color yellow, can add mask or shape here on the back, on the tricep part. And then what's missing here, we can add on that one. And excuse me, and also here. And then from this portion, so we just fill it up, okay, to make it more mechanical. Okay, and then the lighter color, so just to make it blend on the from the rest of the design. Okay, so once you're done, create a copy, or make it longer, since we want to have a more connecting joints on this side. Okay, so and then duplicate, right click, flip horizontal to copy on the other part, the side, on the other side. Then once you're done, you have now the complete set of the mech design. So you can add some more to it, but just to show you how this process works and how it's done, creating that mech render and a CG render. Then after we create, the final step would be the color grading, the adjustment of lights, rendering it a more realistic look. So this is just a flat, so no added shades, advanced shading. So we'd add that on our second step. So using one image, so for the ground, so we delete, we apply that to our background. Okay, so the next step we do is to create a group for our layers, so we can easily adjust the whole set. Okay, so we create a shadow of this mech, using elliptical marquee. And then apply Gaussian blur. Okay, so around 61%. And then we duplicate it again, the group set. And then apply smart object, convert to smart, and then rasterize. Duplicate, merge, and then another duplicate for the backup copy. The first thing we need to do is to create a shade. So we have highlights on top. So we create a selection using control select to that layer thumbnail. And then create a new layer, apply a gradient, especially the radial gradient on top. Right? And after you apply that gradient, you apply multiply to our layer, to that layer. So adjust the opacity. So now you have more shaded portion of that and then the center is more brighter than the rest. And then once you apply that layer, create another layer for the entire image using your paint bucket. So apply a gradient, not a gradient, but a solid color, let's say dark gray. And then select multiply. And then using your brush tool, select soft round brush. Change the setting, apply mask to this object by selecting this one. So this is what we call layer mask. Okay, load layer mask. And then an opacity with an opacity of 24%. So adjust this area now. So just paint over here. So to give more brighter tone or highlights in this portion. So you start with that one, and then on the surroundings, then you give more brush on this area. Since your source of light will be coming from here. So your main source of light. Okay. So you now have two passes. So this layer 6 and layer 7. The third shade would be on this side. It's more on the specific portion of the mech. So using again multiply, select your mech, and then you paint over where the light will not emit. So in this area, in between the torso, on the head part, and also here in this area, and in this area, then you have more I think this one, and okay, so then also this one. Okay, then we add some highlights on top. So what are the highlights on this? Are some accent. So we select our, we create, let's say we want to create the highlights. We select our merge layer again. We paint it with white, not multiply, but just a normal, create a new layer and a normal paint, a white color. And then once you're done, you go back to your deselect, okay, make it invisible, those layers, and also this one. You select your merge layer using your eyedropper, you select this part. You go to your select color range. So you see this part. So you need to select that one, and then you press OK. So all of those tone that have the same tone will be selected or value. And once those are selected, the purpose of that is we want to delete some of the portions of our highlights, since that we want na those highlights or panel lines will not be reached by the light. So we press delete when you select the once you select that layer. Yeah. And then you go back again, make this one visible again. So this layer, this one, and this one. Okay. So this is a good now render. You have from this one, okay, from this render, then we add the different rendering process. Okay. So it's like occlusion pass, different shade pass, just like in 3D, to make it more realistic and 3D like. And after that, we create another color grading. So using adjustment, you can use either color balance. So we change to give more enhancement on the color of blue and red. You can also add curves if it's too bright. Okay, so you can downgrade the brightness. And then once you're done, you can now apply the different lighting effects if you want to have a layer. Using linear dodge for that new layer, will be the glow effect. So using linear dodge, go back again to your brush, yung black Mech brush. We select a red orange color, okay, to give a more warm glowing lights. Okay, so we position our lights from this point. So adjust the opacity to 100, and on this side, and on this area, and at the center, and then some small lights here on those panel lines. Then you can give light here at the center, and then on this side. Then last would be on this part. And then you duplicate that layer, apply box blur, since our brush is box or geometric, so we use box blur. We merge that layer, we duplicate it again to give the more glowing effect of that lights. Then once you're done, okay, so you can adjust or put that on the, do not just put back on the mask kasi the light will be vanished. So instead, just put it on top. Then save your file. You save that to the lesson, for example, just to have directory, folder to save on. Say Mech demo 4, and then we save a JPEG file, a merge file. Then open that file. So Mecha demo 4. Now we need to adjust the brightness. For example, in this area. So using our dodge tool, so we give more highlights on top. And onto the body so of our Mech. And also to give more metallic look. Yeah. But sometimes we don't need it anymore to create a glossy effect of that. Just to give more brightness. Then at the background, okay. And then finally, to add some cinematic look render, we apply chromatic aberration. So we duplicate that layer. We go to our layer style. We select blending options. We deselect the channels red and blue. And then we press OK. Then we move that layer to the right 2 times. Okay. And then we press Control E for merging that layer. And then you apply filter sharpen to give more sharpness to our image. And then we use filter noise to give more textured, realistic look to the surface of our mech design. And then I think that's it. So for this demo and a tutorial on how to create this photo dash digipaint So from start to shape, form, space, form, and to final render to make a 3D or CG look of our mech design. Then if you want to make it more like photography look, like having a depth of field, you apply filter, blur, iris blur. And then you see some shallow depth of field to our design. And then you press OK. You just put that on center. Okay, so I think that's it for this tutorial in creating this cinematic CG mech design.